Hey, rising souls, welcome back. The ocean does not explain itself to anyone. It does not argue with the shore. It just moves with a weight so deep that everything in its path feels it without being told to. That is silent power, and most people are leaking it every single day. Every unnecessary word, every anxious reaction, every time you over-explained a decision nobody asked about, every moment you chased approval from someone who was never going to give it, all of it quietly draining the very thing you were trying to build. Silent power is what happens when the leaking stops. Today we go through 6 rules that will change how you speak, how you carry yourself, and how people experience you without you saying a single extra word. Stay until the end. Do not skip anything. Each rule connects to the next. Like this video, subscribe, share it with one person who needs this today. If you are ready to stop leaking your power today, type this in the comments right now. My silence is my strength. Number 1. Silence is not empty. It is full. Lao Tzu wrote in the Tao King, "Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know." Now, that sounds extreme on the surface, and taken too literally, it would just mean nobody should ever say anything. But there's a much deeper and much more practical truth buried inside those words, and it is this. The person who truly understands something does not feel the need to constantly announce that they understand it. Their actions carry the message. Their presence carries the weight. The knowing shows in ways that do not need words. Most people believe silence is the absence of something, like it is just empty space waiting to be filled. They feel genuinely uncomfortable when a conversation pauses for more than a few seconds. They start to fidget mentally. They scramble for something, anything to say, just to make that silence stop. Not because they have something worth saying, but because the silence itself makes them anxious. That anxiety is important to notice, because what it is really saying is this: I am not comfortable just being here without performing. I need to produce words to feel like I am contributing. I need noise to feel safe. And that is exactly the habit that leaks power. Here's the reality. Silence is not empty. Silence is one of the most loaded things a human being can offer in any conversation. Think about the moments in your own life when silence hit you harder than words. When a doctor paused before speaking after reading your test results. When someone you loved went quiet and you felt it in your whole body before they said a single thing. When a person you respected sat in a meeting and said nothing while everyone else scrambled to fill the air, and somehow that person controlled the entire energy of the room. Silence communicates. It just does it without words. And in many situations, it communicates far more accurately than words ever could. Here's the specific way this connects to your power. When you speak constantly, every thought, every reaction, every half-formed opinion, your words start to lose weight. People stop really listening. They know more words are coming, so they wait for the next one instead of actually sitting with what you just said. You become background noise, familiar, easy to tune out. But when you speak less, when you let silence sit comfortably, when you only open your mouth when you have something that is actually worth saying, something changes in how people receive you. They pay attention differently. They lean in slightly. They know from experience that when you speak, it means something. They have learned that you do not waste words, and that quiet reputation is one of the most powerful things you can build. There's also something that happens inside you when you practice this. When you stop filling every silence, you start to hear things you were missing before. You notice more. You read situations more accurately. You pick up on what people are actually feeling underneath what they're saying. That kind of awareness, the kind that only comes from being genuinely quiet, is something that naturally sharpens your judgment over time. The first rule is not about becoming mute. It's about understanding that silence is a tool, a precise one, and right now, most people are not using it at all. Less words, more weight. That's the whole idea. Number 2, what you do not say protects you. The ancient philosopher Zeno of Citium said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more and talk less." But here's what that wisdom points toward that most people miss entirely. The things you choose not to say can protect your entire life in ways that no security system, no strategy, and no carefully worded speech ever could. Most people think being open is always a strength, and in the right places, with the right people, at the right time, it absolutely is. Real openness with trusted people is one of the most valuable things in a human life. But there's another version of openness that quietly works against you. It's the version where you tell everyone your plans before they're real, where you share your goals with people who haven't earned that information, where you explain your decisions in detail to people who were never going to support them, no matter how clearly you explained. Here's something worth sitting with carefully. Every single time you tell someone what you're building before it's built, you open a door for their doubt to walk in. And other people's doubt is one of the quietly destructive forces you can carry in the early stages of anything you're trying to create. Not because their doubt is necessarily true, but because it plants itself in your mind. It finds the corner where your own uncertainty already lives, and it makes itself comfortable there. And then, on the days when things get hard, and things always get hard, that planted doubt starts to whisper. You find yourself questioning things you were clear about before you said anything. This is why so many people announce big goals in January and have completely forgotten about them by March. It's not laziness, it's that they shared the vision before it had roots, before it was strong enough to survive contact with other people's skepticism. Silent people are not secretive out of fear or paranoia, they're selective out of wisdom. They understand that different stages of a thing require different levels of protection. A seed doesn't grow faster because you keep digging it up to show people how it's doing. It grows in the dark, in private, with patience. And then one day, you see the result above the ground, and it's real, and it's permanent, and no amount of early doubt could have stopped it because the doubt never got access to it. This rule also applies to your personal life, not just your goals. Every relationship you're in, every struggle you're working through, every part of your inner life that is still fragile and still forming. Not everything needs to be shared. Not every wound needs a public audience. Not every private decision needs a committee to vote on it. Choosing what to share and what to protect is not deception, it's discernment. It's one of the most mature and self-respecting things a person can do. The practical version of this rule is straightforward. Share your results. Keep your process quiet. Let the finished thing speak instead of the plan. And be very honest with yourself whether you're sharing something because it genuinely serves the relationship or because you're uncomfortable holding it alone. Most of the time, the answer is the second one, and most of the time, the right move is to hold it a little longer. Number 3, stop reacting. It's costing you more than you know. Viktor Frankl, a man who survived conditions that most of us cannot begin to imagine, wrote this: "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response, and in our response lies our growth and our freedom." He wrote that inside a Nazi concentration camp. He had everything taken from him: his family, his freedom, his safety, his future, everything, except one thing: the space between what happened to him and how he chose to respond to it. And he held on to that space like it was the only thing keeping him alive, because in a very real sense, it was. Now, think about how most of us use that same space in our daily lives. Someone says something rude online, and within 30 seconds, we're typing a response. Someone cuts us off in traffic, and our mood is ruined for the next 20 minutes. A friend says something careless, and we replay it for 3 days. A plan falls apart, and we spiral immediately into frustration and self-doubt. We hand that space away constantly. We don't even realize we're doing it, and every time we do, we hand our power along with it. Here's the honest, direct truth. When you react without thinking, you're not being authentic, you're being controlled. The thing that triggered you, whether it's a person, a situation, a comment, a setback, now has